Can we please pretend that this is the first week of January and that I'm uploading in the first week just like I told myself I would? Can we also pretend that the basement isn't an entire wreck and that it's covered in plastic because the basement got flooded the day before Christmas Eve? It's been over 5 years since I've uploaded consistently to this YouTube channel, and I think it's time to revamp myself. And what's a better way to revamp a reptile channel than by doing a full animal collection tour in January of 2023. My name is Joel Macy. Hope you like reptiles. Stick around. Okay, once again, I just want to reiterate, this is not my reptile room. This is supposed to be my reptile room. However, the day before Christmas Eve, I came home to a flooded basement and water was raining through this ceiling. As you can see, it's been worked on. There's new popcorn texture, but there's plastic all over the floor. All this, it should be done next week, and then I'll be able to move animals back in. In the meantime, I had to move everything out here, and it is just an entire wreck. There are tarps everywhere, just junk laying everywhere because, you know, that's how it goes when you, in an emergency, have to evacuate everything out of a raining reptile room. I'm really anxious to get some of these animals back into the reptile room, although some of these on the back wall might end up staying. But in the meantime, I just want to get a YouTube video out and start recording and being consistent because I'd really like to get back into the YouTube game. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. What we have right here is a friendly gal. This is Eleanor, my Argentine boa constrictor. This girl likes to bluff and act mad and angry every time I go near her, but when I pick her up, she's usually fine. I already know that this video is going to be chaotic because I only have one hand and I can't find my tripod mount. And so I'm just going to be filming with one hand, holding animals with the other, whatever. This girl I acquired on Black Friday in 2021. I got him from Brian Cusco. I was following him on Instagram and he posted these for sale. And so I hit him up and said, I want one. And so here we are. I got this beautiful female and I'm going to grow her up and I plan to breed her with a male that is owned by a friend of mine. She is a absolutely gorgeous snake. Looks like cookies and cream almost. And she's going to be living in this 75-gallon enclosure until she is big enough to move to something bigger. I really don't want to keep my animals in racks, and so I want to actually move this girl into most likely a 6 foot by 6 foot arboreal enclosure. Now I'm going to go ahead and put her back in there, like I said, one-handed. So chaotic. I just want to get a YouTube video out because I haven't done one in ages. And we'll just improve from here. Everything's going to get better from here, including the setups, including, you know, everything. So anyway, that is a gorgeous girl. One of my favorite animals. Actually, one of my most expensive animals as well. Now we're going to move over here to this rack. Now, there used to be lights on here, but I took them all off because they're not really necessary. Also, in the chaos here, there's not really a good spot to plug them in. The animals don't need them. They're fine. We're just gonna... The lights are purely for aesthetics. So we're gonna check out this first one right here. This beautiful snake right here is a normal female American bull snake. Her name is Hermione, and I actually just named her today. I realized she didn't have a name, and so I looked through my list of pet names and gave her one. I think Hermione is a fitting name for this snake. I don't know why. It just looks right. This bull snake is actually very bluffy. If I tap the glass, well, maybe not. She's just acting interested in food right now. But she will absolutely hiss and puff up and just completely bluff at me. But she's an absolutely gorgeous snake, and I can't wait to grow her up to be 5 or 6 feet long when she's full grown. And hopefully use her as an educational ambassador if I ever do school shows and stuff like that. She's in a 10-gallon aquarium, and she'll stay in there until she's maybe 2 feet, and then she'll be moved into probably something bigger, and then once she's full grown, maybe a 4 or 5, maybe even 6 foot enclosure. Next, we're going to move over here, and we are going to show a very special snake. There she starts hissing. There it is. Anyway, she does that a lot, but we're going to move over here to the next animal. Right here is a very special animal. This is a naturalistic enclosure I designed with my friend Ruben. I think it looks pretty good, although it's getting a little bit messed up and I might need to re-put it together. In here is a special, not so commonly kept animal. If I can get him out. Here we go. We can get a look at him. This right here is my male rubber boa. His name is Hot Dog, and I actually acquired him from some girl who used to live in Utah. She caught this animal with a permit, so she caught it legally and was able to transport it to Kansas, hopefully legally. She ended up deciding to spend more time with her frog keeping, and so she did, and she put this guy up for sale in a reptile group, which I was in. I hit her up, drove a few hours, and picked him up. This guy is still pretty small and very young. He will get maybe 2 feet. He's a male, so they stay pretty small. Females get a little bit bigger, like up to 3 feet, I believe. And other than that, just a really fun looking snake. He looks fake. He looks like a toy, hence the name rubber boa. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him back in. He's a little anxious noodle. I'm just gonna stick him back in there. Goodness gracious, I can't keep the camera steady, can't keep it focused. I'm a real mess right now. But like I said, just trying to get videos out. We're gonna put the lid back on here and we'll just go ahead and come up here. I'm telling you, this girl is just extremely defensive, although she's never bitten me once, which is funny. So, I mean, I kind of even stick my hand out in front of her. She doesn't do anything. She's never struck at me, nothing crazy. But man, she's beautiful. Anyway, like I said, we're going up here. In these 3 tubs are some juvenile snakes. This is not an albino Nelson's milk snake. Don't listen to that false advertising. Actually, okay, so what's happening in here are these are 3 Asian rat snakes, and they're going to be upgraded. Goodness gracious. She's just getting real crazy right now. Probably just because I'm standing here and making a bunch of noise and moving around. Like I said, her and the bull snake, they're the only 2 hissers, but they're just going crazy right now. Okay, so these are 3 Asian rat snakes. There are 2 different species here. In this first one, these 2 are the same, and this is a second species. So this right here is a very, very cool snake, in my opinion. This right here is an Asian green rat snake, also known as like an Asian bush snake. It has a lot of common names. This is an Asian green rat snake. The scientific name is Goniosoma prasinum. Now, this is just a really cool snake. This was one of the first snakes that I saw at a reptile expo. I was there with my zookeeper friend. He got really excited and he bought 4 of them. Those were the only 4 at the show, which made me excited about them. And 7 years later, when he finally bred them, I bought a baby from him. Now this is the male. I got him, a friend brought him down from Omaha, Nebraska for me because he saw one at the show and knew I needed a male. So this is the male. Looks like he shed. I'll clean that out later. Means he's growing, he's nice and healthy. And I'm gonna stick this lid back on. These guys are getting long enough to the point that I'm gonna start putting them in arboreal cages soon. In the meantime, they are fine just like this. I'm gonna skip this one. We're gonna go over here. In here is my female Goniosoma prasinum. She also shed. This is awesome. Where can I put them? I'm gonna put them on the ground. And I'm guessing she's under her hide. Oh yeah, look at that girl. This is the poor man's green mamba, in my opinion. Look at that beautiful snake. I mean, that is just incredible. Very, very cool. With pretty snakes usually comes a mean disposition, but this girl has never bit me once, as far as I can remember. But I mean, she's great. So I'm excited to keep her growing and upgrade her to a taller enclosure, do some naturalistic stuff, and hopefully she'll just be a great display animal as well as a breeder animal. Now we'll go ahead and do this middle snake. As I said, not an albino Nelson's milk snake. In here, in a very plain enclosure. Sorry guys. Like I said, can't wait to upgrade them. This is a Japanese rat snake. Look at that beautiful snake. Got the beautiful light blue on the head, the dark forest green on the back, with like the olive green saddles. I mean, that's just a really cool snake. My goal is to just collect a whole bunch of old world rat snakes. This girl is really cool, and she's gonna be actually moved into this 10-gallon. This is an empty enclosure. It's gonna get revamped up, and she's gonna go in there. So, very cool snake. Can't wait to grow him or her. This isn't actually sexed. That's a male and a female. This is unknown. So, trying to escape, but very cool snake. Next up over here, slide this lid off. is a pretty commonly kept reptile. In fact, they're gaining popularity even now. In here, if I can find him, where is he? Hey buddy, where you at? Come on, there he is. Whoop whoop. This is a western hognose snake. Just a regular. It's actually heterozygous for the pink gene, which is a pretty expensive higher end gene, but I'm not sure if I'm interested in breeding this guy or not. Not 100% sure if I'm gonna keep him. I kind of would like to keep him as an educational ambassador, just as a Kansas species, but I've also got a friend who's interested in him, so we'll see. This guy's name is Meatball. He's a great looking western hognose snake, and he's in a basic setup with just some aspen, water dish, a couple pieces of cool wood. Set that right there. And of course, I use this lid as a feeding dish so that food doesn't stick to the prey item. Finally, last thing on this rack is this mess of a cage, which definitely needs revamped, and I really hope to do that soon. This right here is my green bottle blue tarantula. Now that right there is just a beautiful spider. I actually got her from the K-State Insect Museum. They have a legit insect museum, and in the gift shop they sell baby spiders, and so I ended up buying this tarantula, and man, it's just been a beautiful animal. Not really a good tarantula to handle, but this tarantula is just really awesome to look at, and is a very aggressive feeder. So definitely want to keep my fingers out of those webs so that nothing crazy happens. Now here's some more mess right here. We're gonna start up here, and then we're gonna work our way down through these racks and this tub right here. This right here is Bigchungus. Bigchungus is a South African bullfrog, and he is an absolute mob boss. Look at this Chungus. His name is Bigchungus for a reason. He is just awesome. What an absolute unit. He loves to eat cockroaches, superworms. He even ate a couple baby mice before. He is just an awesome animal that I can't wait to grow to be even bigger than he is already. Whether it's a male or female, he's actually not sexed. He's in a pretty basic setup with some eco earth and some sphagnum moss. However, so it's all wet. It's like 100% humidity in there basically, which is pretty good for him. But like I said, he's growing and needs to be put in this 40 gallon. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to Lowe's. I'm gonna get some glass cut, and I'm gonna make a partition, maybe about 6 inches tall, and I'm gonna make a water side and a earth side. And I'm gonna give him the choice instead of just always being in wet or damp substrate. This dude is awesome. He is an absolute mascot, and I can't wait to give him the size and the quality of an enclosure that he deserves. In this top tub right here, we have actually a Mexican black king snake. Now this is a very cool animal that I've had for a couple of years. He is co-owned by me and a friend of mine. We have a female in the next rack. I'll just go ahead and pull that one out. And we have special breeding plans for these guys. They're not quite big enough yet, but next year we hope to get some eggs from them and sell them, because these are just a really awesome snake that we'd love to be able to get more out there. I mean, obviously there's a lot of breeders keeping them, but there just always seems to be a high demand for them. So Mexican black king snakes, they don't have a name. If you have any ideas, we would love for you to comment them down below. Now in this bottom tub on this rack, as well as the 3 tubs in this rack, are 4 albino Nelson's milk snakes. This is the male, and there are 3 females. Now these are all breeding purpose animals, and I do plan to get some eggs out of these also in the next year, hopefully. Then I will sell them. I'm not 100% sure about keeping these albino Nelson's milk snakes. They're kind of crazy, but they are very pretty, and hopefully somebody else would enjoy them. They just might not be quite for me. They're not really my dream species, and so I feel like I don't give them enough attention. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna breed them once or twice, and then I might just go ahead and sell the lot of them, all 4 of them, so that somebody else can take care of them. So he's really gripping my fingers here, but really cool. So I'll show you guys the other females real quick. This right here is female 1, and typically they're just really wriggly and they like to thrash around. They're not calm at all. They're very sporadic. This one just shed, but she's a little bit on the smaller side, so she's not ready to breed quite yet. Had to make a mess out of her enclosure to catch her, but I'm gonna clean that up later. But anyway, that's female 1. Female 2 is in the back here, and she is quite a bit bigger than the others. She will produce some eggs definitely next year. She looks like she's in shed. She's getting bigger. She is growing. She is doing great. Look at that girl. What a unit. So she's doing great. Again, these guys don't have names. If you have any ideas, we can go ahead and give them names. So just drop them down below in the comments. And finally, female number 3. Female number 3 is also quite the unit. She is very sporadic and crazy, but she's also huge. So the first female, she's actually on the smaller side, but the other 2 are just doing really great, and they're gonna be ready to breed next year. So I'm excited for that. And let's go ahead and put her in before she escapes. I'm gonna have to go back through and clean all these out and give them new water since they got substrate in there. But right on top here is a pickled frog. This is an American bullfrog that was actually given to me by an old science teacher. This is probably from like the 50s, so that's a really, really old frog. But it's pretty cool, but also kind of gross. So whatever you think about that, I don't know. Do with that information as you want. So here's the plan. The animal that goes in here is gonna go into this aquarium for better display after Bigchungus is moved into the 40-gallon aquarium. So in here is actually an American toad. This is Tina the toad. She likes to eat. She just likes to sit and hop around. She likes to do what toads like to do. Like I said, since she's in this tub, I don't get to see her very often, and so I'd be very glad to put her in this display aquarium. I'm gonna put this lid back on. It's just got 2 holes drilled in the top with some screen glued to the top with hot glue, and that's it. Now we're gonna pan from over there, over all this junk, over all these tools being used for the basement, over all these extra lights and stuff. And we're gonna go over here to one of my newest additions. This right here is a beautiful new addition. This is an Australian olive python who might potentially be hungry. At first he wasn't eating for me. I was trying to feed him mice. He would not do that. So I contacted the breeder who sent him to me, Zion Hill Exotics. Her name is Casey from Pennsylvania. And she told me that he had actually been eating quail. So I ordered some quail from rodentpro.com, and this boy just absolutely nailed him. He ate 3 of them in one sitting. They were very small quail, so they barely left a lump. So 3 was fine, just to get him eating again. But anyway, he's in this 55, I think it's a 55-gallon breeder, or I can't remember exactly what kind of aquarium this is. He is just doing great. He's chilling on this branch and just doing really great. I want to find a female for him. I want to breed them. I want to keep Australian pythons. I love these guys. Just a really, really, really cool snake. From the olive python, we're gonna move over here to this final rack. These animals I do not want to keep in racks. I actually have a friend who has, again, whatever size of aquarium this is, he has 3 of them at his house that he said I can have. So I'm gonna bring them here, put them on stands, and these snakes are gonna go into those because these are really, really cool special snakes. This right here is a Woma python. This is a female. Her name is Wombat. She is Wombat the Woma python, and this here up top is Wiggles the Woma. This dude is a little more defensive. He will rear up. Oh my gosh, he came all the way to the camera. He will strike. He is a very beautiful snake. I got him from my friend at Travis Whistler Reptiles. He actually bred his Woma pythons and only got 1 baby, and I called dibs. So this is that 1 baby. Oh, hopefully you didn't get a jump scare there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him back in. This female I got at Tinley Park Reptile Expo last March, so almost a year ago. So this female Wombat is doing really good. She likes to eat mice, and she's doing really great. So again, I really hope to raise these guys up, get them big, breed them, get these guys, raise him up, breed him with a female, and they're gonna stay in, you know, good display aquariums. I don't want to keep anything in racks long term. But in the meantime, this rack works great for these guys and they're doing great. So, okay, so that's all the animals in the basement. No, wait, I'm tripping. This is the final aquarium in the basement, right next to all this junk. So sorry that everything's a mess, guys. Again, we're gonna get it cleaned up when the reptile room's finished up. All that good stuff. This is water calcium deposits. I need to scrape those off with a blade, rinse them off, you know, whatever you gotta do. Down in here are 3 alligator snapping turtles. Let me pull those out for you. So I was able to get the alligator snapping turtles out. There are 3 of them, like I said. There's this one, who is very feisty. Look at this beautiful boy. Oh my goodness, he's so awesome. Or it could be a female, who knows? But that is really good lighting, and that is a really beautiful looking alligator snapping turtle. So there's that one. There's this one, who doesn't seem to care too much for the attention. Just a really good looking, potentially female. I'm guessing these 2 might be female and this might be a male, which would be perfect for breeding if they were able to breed in the next few years, but they're not. They're gonna take at least 10 years, maybe 20 years. I can't remember when they reach sexual maturity. It takes forever. This is the biggest one. He is just an absolute chonk. He is so fat. He loves to eat guppies, as well as these guys. They love to eat guppies, they love to eat shrimp, and they like to eat tilapia. So they're doing really good, and they are growing slowly, little by little, bit by bit. So again, this aquarium right here, it just needs revamped in general. Ever since the basement got flooded, I had to move them in here. Stuff just got messy. They don't have a filtration system, which is fine, but just doesn't make the water look very pretty. And then I need to clean the glass as well. So I'll do that. But look at these guys. I mean, how cool is that? Alligator snapping turtles, absolute dinosaurs. I actually drove all the way to Missouri. I drove about 4 hours, I think, to pick these up from the breeder. His name is John, I think. What's his name? He's the turtle man. He has a huge pond in his backyard and he just breeds alligator snapping turtles full time. He has like 500 adults and produces like 6,000 eggs a year, I believe, is what he said. We went there, we interviewed him. I took a whole bunch of footage and then I never edited it and posted it. So there's no YouTube video for that unless I can go find the footage somewhere and put it together and post it. So let me know if you're interested in that. Because that would be a really cool video to post. As for the basement, that is everything. There is actually one more animal upstairs, and there is another animal at my parents' house. So we're gonna go check those out. On top of this piano is a leopard gecko, actually. Next to these bugs right here, we have Phoebe. She's an albino leopard gecko, and she is kept by my wife. And she's just a really good looking lizard. She's got a pretty basic setup for leopard geckos. She's got calcium sand, which she hasn't been eating, luckily. She's got her food dish, water bowl, some cork, some wood, fake plant. Looks pretty good. It's just on top of our piano for now. This was a free piano I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace. It's not even tuned. It is a pretty garbage piano. Anyway, yeah, that's that. So cool stuff. Also, I have a bag of Missouri turtle food because I have a stock tank out in the backyard. Now, in the stock tank are about 5 turtles, and they are hibernating right now. So we're not gonna bother them. We're just gonna leave them alone, and we're gonna go check out the animal at my parents' house. Okay, it is actually the next day, and I'm at my parents' house up on the 3rd floor. And I used to live here. I used to keep my animals on this dresser. I used to keep animals on that table there. But everything's been moved over to my new place except for one enclosure, and it happens to be a large one. So we're gonna be checking this one out. Okay, so this is the enclosure. This is actually a 7 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosure, custom built by Kyle from Talking Serpents. Kyle lives in Northeast Texas, and he has a custom enclosure building operation in his garage with his wife. They seem to be doing really well, so shout out to them. When I bought this enclosure, I actually decided to drive down, partially because I wanted to go on a road trip and also just because I wanted to see his collection. So I drove 5 hours down, picked this up, loaded it into the back of my family Suburban. Then I got to see his collection. He has a yellow anaconda, an albino reticulated python, an albino boa, a tokay gecko, a ball python, and a few rattlesnakes, western diamondback rattlesnakes, which is really cool. So this enclosure is pretty basic. It's just got a bunch of aspen chips in there and a large water dish. It's got a heat bulb on one side and some ventilation in the back. But I really would like to add some fake plants and stuff along the back, maybe just to spruce it up a little bit, and probably also add a hide box if I can. Chances are the snake that's in here is just gonna outgrow it eventually, but that's okay. This is a temporary enclosure. Eventually she's gonna outgrow this and I will be moving her into something even bigger than this. On top, we've got a badger skull, an alligator head, and a beaver skull. Got those artifacts from somebody, actually the same person that gave me the pickled American bullfrog. So anyway, let's see what lives in here. Right here is my Burmese python. This is Delilah, and I believe she's about 10 feet long right now. This girl's an albino, and I got her right after I graduated high school, so I got her in 2018. So this year she will be 5 years old. Again, she's 10 feet long, and she was about 15 inches when I first got her. She's a little bit of a hisser right now, but she's just a beautiful girl, absolute sweetheart. Very, very cool. She's eating rabbits right now, and she's about due for another rabbit, so we'll have to do a feeding video sometime soon. So this girl is just awesome. I love her to death, and she's just a beauty. So I feel like I should just go ahead and explain real quick why this snake is here, not over at my house. Reason number one being this enclosure is huge, and it was a pretty big deal getting it up here, and so it'd be another whole ordeal getting it out and back to my house. Reason number two is my landlord actually wasn't a huge fan of me keeping snakes in the house at all. We're in a duplex, and he was afraid the neighbors would find out and be upset, which is understandable because not everybody likes snakes. So in convincing him to let me keep snakes, I didn't mention this one because I didn't want him thinking I was keeping a huge giant man-eating python in my house right next to the neighbors. So kept this one out of the blue and just decided to keep him here. And it's working out so far, but eventually I'm gonna buy a house and we will be able to move her into a bigger enclosure and into a real house. So there you guys have it. That was my entire animal collection tour of January 2023, and I hope you guys enjoyed. My goal is to do a video like this every month, do a monthly update just on what animals I have and what my setups look like. But in the meantime, in between those videos, I'll be doing care guides, feeding videos, and vlogs of my zoo trips and of my trips to reptile expos. So if you want to see more content like that, make sure to subscribe. And until then, see ya.